Dr. Brad Stanfield published a video called Why I Stopped Taking Resveratrol, and he mentioned there a few studies and papers that disprove the value of resveratrol. What is more confusing here, that the studies and papers that Stanfield showed and mentioned in his video, they really seem legit. This study shows that resveratrol hurts exercise benefits. This paper, claiming certain activity, the target of resveratrol, may not affect aging at all. And this study with CRISPR technology, supposedly the best of the best technology that we have right now, shows that resveratrol doesn't activate sirtuins. So it's all seem very confusing. Is David Sinclair wrong? If you're taking resveratrol, are you making a mistake? Does taking resveratrol blunt your exercise efforts? Today I'll clarify those exercise studies I mentioned, and I'll show you how you can prevent resveratrol from blunting your exercise efforts. By the way, the explanation for the rest of the studies I showed you before is in another video. You can check the description to view that as well, here on the Wellness Messiah channel. Now, let's start. Welcome to the Wellness Messiah podcast. I'm your host, Rimon. Okay, to understand the conflict of research, we have to understand resveratrol. Resveratrol does two main things. It has two functions. The first one, it supposedly activates sirtuins, especially SIRT1, which is one of the sirtuins out of the 7. Another activity of resveratrol is it's an antioxidant. In the past, people used to make the mistake thinking that this is why it reverses aging. This is not why it reverses aging. In fact, it could be the key to many of the conflict of studies about resveratrol.
When I worked on resveratrol as a longevity molecule, first we showed it in yeast and worms and flies and mice. Before that, it was thought that resveratrol was good for your heart in red wine when you drink red wine because it's an antioxidant. So then we showed that it extended the lifespan of yeast cells through this genetic pathway, the sirtuins. And we then tested whether resveratrol, if we changed one atom to make it not an antioxidant, guess what? It still worked fine. So it wasn't its antioxidant activity that was extending lifespan, it was its ability to turn on the yeast's defenses against aging. Conversely, when we gave the yeast antioxidants, they lived shorter. So yeah, that was the beginning of my transformation into thinking, turn on the body's defenses, don't give it the antioxidant.
Now here's the thing. Your body has an antioxidant system. However, your body and the DNA is pretty lazy. If you take antioxidants from the outside, but your antioxidant system works perfectly, then it's going to respond by reducing its antioxidant defense. This is why there are studies showing that antioxidants for healthy young people reduce longevity. But if you do that with old people, suddenly you get a reversal of the impact. In essence, antioxidants, external antioxidants, as opposed to antioxidants produced by your body, they make your body lazy. Now, what happens when you do exercise? Especially when you do cardiovascular exercise, you inhale a massive amount of oxygen. This is in essence a stress, a toxin that put on your body. To be more scientifically correct here, the oxidative stress of exercise is mainly coming from the lack of oxygen. I guess oversimplified, something that is completely unintuitive. So when you engage in an exercise where there is high demand for oxygen, then it leads to oxidative stress and free radicals. So it's not really the oxygen that is the toxin as much as the oxidative stress that arising from activity that demands a lot of oxygen. And as a result of this oxygen stress that you put on your body, let's say 20 minutes every week, then you get a higher protection from oxygen for the rest of the week. However, what happens when you take resveratrol and you have resveratrol in your blood when you're exercising? In this situation, I would assume it's going to minimize a lot of the benefits of resveratrol. I'm going to explain what to do in a minute, but let's go over the studies and analyze them. So this study says that all subjects perform 8 weeks of high-intensity interval training, cycling twice a week. In addition, subjects conducted a timed 5 kilometers walk once a week. So as you can see, this is a cardiovascular activity. You get a large amount of oxygen in a short amount of time. You don't want resveratrol in the blood when you do those activities. Let's see what happens in the second study. high-intensity interval spinning training twice per week, in addition to 5 kilometers walk once per week. Again, we see it's a cardiovascular activity. And the results show that resveratrol negates some of the benefits of exercise. This is not surprising. If you're healthy, young, and you're exercising, you don't want resveratrol in your blood. So what you want to do is really cycle resveratrol. So to me, that makes sense. So what I do personally, I take resveratrol once every 2 days. I don't want my antioxidant defense system to get used to this antioxidant. I want my inner, natural, innate antioxidant system to work as hard as possible without any additional influence from the outside that's going to make my body lazy. In addition, I don't take resveratrol before exercise. I take it after exercise. I think it stays in the body for about 24, maybe a bit more hours. So you've got the time to cycle resveratrol. And if you need more corroboration for that, Sinclair himself said that if they take healthy mouse, then they get the maximum amount of benefit when they cycle resveratrol 1 day on, 1 day off. And this is a clip where you can listen to him saying that himself.
If we gave it to mice their whole lifespan, they were protected against a high-fat diet, which we call the Western diet. They had lean organs. They lived slightly longer, but not a lot. This is what's not known, though it's in the supplemental data of the paper that nobody ever reads. The mice that were given resveratrol every second day on a normal diet lived dramatically longer than any other group. So people out there, my critics say, oh, resveratrol didn't extend the lifespan of mice on a normal diet, therefore it's not aging, it's just protecting against a high-fat diet. Well, look at the supplemental data, please. If you give it to the mice every other day, we had mice living over 3 years. And what that told me is that probably you don't want to be taking a supplement every day. You can take it either every other day or give your body a rest.
However, you may ask why there are studies on animals that show that resveratrol improves cardiovascular activity and physical activity. First of all, some of these studies, they use resistance training. So it could have been, I'm not sure, that resistance training is less sensitive to antioxidants, because the main stress from resistance training is not necessarily the amount of oxygen that we breathe. The second possible reason for contradiction on exercise with resveratrol between mice, for example, and humans, could be the sensitivity of our bodies for antioxidants. You see, we are human beings, and we are amongst the only mammals that do not make vitamin C. And it could be, and I know from my research that our antioxidant system has to be stronger because of that. So we only need about 20 milligrams of vitamin C per day, as opposed to animals who can produce grams of vitamin C every day, so are much more dependent on this production of vitamin C. So it could be that us humans, because of our powerful antioxidant system that is not dependent on vitamin C, is more sensitive to taking antioxidants from the outside. There is additional problem with the studies that's showing that resveratrol blunts the benefits of exercise. It has to do with the absorption of resveratrol. It's not clear to me whether it was taken with fat as it should or with water. I'm quoting from both of these studies. The first one, all participants were instructed to take 1 tablet each morning. The second one is the subjects received tablets every 2 weeks and were instructed to take their daily tablet at the time every morning. When I tell my clients to take a tablet every morning, usually they take it with water because most people are not very hungry as they wake up. So to me, it's not clear whether it was taken properly. Nevertheless, I would not expect resveratrol before exercise and chronically for healthy people as opposed to old people to be any benefit because of the antioxidant effect that I explained. So let me give you the bottom line and what I do with resveratrol. And resveratrol, taken correctly, is a wonderful anti-aging usefulness preservation supplement. Now, what do I do? Personally, I take about 1 gram every other day. Always with fat. Never before exercise, always after exercise. And sometimes I take it with a sip of alcohol, which possibly can improve the absorption as well of resveratrol. The thing is, I don't want resveratrol in my blood and in my muscles when I exercise, because I want the stress from the oxygen. I don't want anything to negate that stress. So that's it. I invite you to watch my intro video where I show live results I achieved with clients, including some of them reversing aging. And of course, I invite you to share and subscribe. It's going to give you more motivation to produce videos about how to slow down aging, how to preserve youthfulness, which is my passion in the last 15 years.